Good morning, this bright Wednesday morning. Over the last 2 days, I've made the point that I don't think that God is sending us a special message through the coronavirus epidemic. So if God isn't sending us a special message, what is he doing? Well, he is subjecting us to what is fairly normal in the course of events, in the course of histories. Things happen which are simply surprising, unexpected, unlucky or lucky, you might say. So God is not telling us anything new, but he has told us quite a lot of old things. And I want to go and listen to Ecclesiastes chapter 11, where God is telling us some old things, some wisdom that we should have, if you like, tucked away in our knapsacks, some wisdom that is from what God said long ago through the unknown writer of Ecclesiastes. So Ecclesiastes 11 says this: "Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days. Give a portion to 7 or even to 8, for you know not what disaster may happen on earth. If the clouds are full of rain, they empty themselves on the earth. If a tree falls to the south or to the north, in the place where the tree falls, there it will lie. He who observes the wind will not sow, and he who regards the clouds will not reap. As you do not know the way the Spirit comes to the bones in the womb of a woman with child, so you do not know the work of God who makes everything. In the morning sow your seed, and at evening withhold not your hand, for you do not know which will prosper, this or that, or whether both alike will be successful." So we have no word from God other than the written word in the Bible. We have no insight that is giving us a prediction of the future. So what do? Well, we try lots of different things. That's what he's saying, isn't it? In terms of business ventures, in terms of acts of kindness and generosity, in terms of even simple gardening, sowing seed. Try a lot. Try several different things. See what works. Not every act of generosity will be appreciated. Not every business venture will succeed. Not every seed will turn into a plant. But try them out, because the point is, we really don't know. We are living in ignorance, and God is not telling us what to do. Now, verse 2 is one thing I want to point out particularly, where it says, "You do not know what disaster may happen on earth." Now, if we think of the current situation as a disaster, which it is for many people, it was unpredictable, wasn't it? We didn't have a clue when it would happen. It just fell on us. But we can be certain that disasters in general will happen. And that is why Ecclesiastes 11 says, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't depend on one source of income. Don't depend on one hope, because that hope may be crushed by circumstance. But it also says you can try some things. You can do something. And there are a number of suggestions that I've that I've come across recently, which suggest that there is something that most of us can do in these strange times. I heard of a lady who was sewing face masks out of cotton for her friends because it was a skill she had. With regards to sowing seeds, this is the springtime, this is when to sow seeds. And even if you just have a window box, a few lettuces in that window box may be very welcome in 2 or 3 months' time. For musicians, I've got my harmonicas in their case. You may have a guitar in your cupboard. Let's get them out. More importantly, maybe there are friends or relatives that you've rather neglected. This might be the moment to ring them up. If you think you should study, the amount of resources been made available in just the last month or two by many excellent colleges and universities are there. I know a lot of people are relearning languages or learning them for the first time because that's something they can do from home. And I would suggest even that food shortages might be an incentive to try something different. It's sometimes hard to get hold of flour, but the humble potato seems to be available. Try something you haven't cooked before, or something that is outside your normal diet. Anyway, that's the first part of Ecclesiastes. But it also mentions something else. It mentions the complexity of life. In verses 3 and 4, talking about the weather, we have no idea when the rain clouds are coming. Once they're above our heads, we can predict rain, usually with about 10 minutes notice. Trees are blown over by the wind. We don't even know which way a tree will be blown over, but the consequence will be a heavy tree lying wherever it's fallen. Complexity in the development of a fetus, verse 5. We have no idea how that works, how the bones knit in a woman's womb. Now, it's not entirely true that we don't understand that. We do have some understanding of the weather. We do have some understanding of how the embryo becomes the child. But the understanding is patchy, and it's not enough for us to be in control of either the weather or the development of a child in a womb. Who would have thought that a sedative like thalidomide would have the effect it did have on the forming of the bones of a fetus in the womb? There are many things where we just have to be careful. Complexity is unpredictable. The sailor knows any guess is better than no guess as to what the weather might do in the next few hours. I think of climate change. Now, it is quite possible that every projection on climate change is going to be wrong. But we know we're dealing with a complex system with a whole load of feedback effects. So isn't it better to be careful? There's a connection between air pollution and how seriously the COVID virus affects you. We know there's a connection, but we're not sure what it is, and we're not sure how thorough and deep it is. The modern economy is incredibly complex, and it seems to me that all the attempts to control the economy by governments and by central banks are likely to make matters worse in the next few years, because they don't understand what they're tinkering with. So complexity is unpredictable. God is not giving us a word to short circuit our ignorance. And we can feel insecure. I think this is why so many Christians are on YouTube trying to listen to someone to tell them what God is doing in these times. But I believe God is not going to give them any sensible answers. Rather, Ecclesiastes 11 says, in times of insecurity, dealing with things that are too complex for us, just try it all. But more than that, and I suppose this is more hopeful, enjoy life in this complex world. The gift of existence is a marvelous gift, and use it and enjoy life. There's no reason to be miserable just because we don't understand everything, just because God is not telling us exactly what to do. That's a reason to be venturesome. It's a reason to be active. It's a reason to try things out, not a reason to be despairing or depressed. I'm going to read the end of Ecclesiastes 11, and you'll find, as usual, that the writer is a lot briefer than me, and he puts it better. Light is sweet, and it is pleasant for the eyes to see the sun. So, if a person lives many years, let him rejoice in them all. But let him remember that in the days of darkness will be many. All that comes is vanity. Rejoice, O young man, in your youth, and let your heart cheer you in the days of your youth. Walk in the ways of your heart and the sight of your eyes. But know that for all these things God will bring you into judgment. Remove vexation from your heart and put away pain from your body, for youth and the dawn of life are vanity. So yes, old age and youth both have their own kind of vanity, their own kind of apparent pointlessness. But life is good, light is sweet, and the gifts of God are worth receiving with gratitude. But understand that although you're advised to walk in the ways of your heart, make your choices, and in the sight of your eyes, in the understanding that you might have, everything will be given back to God and will give an account for it. So remember God as you live in an unpredictable world. Well, I hope that makes sense, and goodbye for today. God bless you and keep you in these uncertain times.